Uh, hey everyone. So I decided to pre-record a video because on the day that you're watching this, I'm actually going to be on a road trip, so I won't be able to tune in live. But it's going to allow me to, like make it shorter and make it more understandable, hopefully. A lot of this stuff can kind of go over people's heads the first time they watch it, so if you're intimidated by anything, it's completely normal and you're totally okay. This video is going to be like a walkthrough of how I did all the virtual choir projects last year and how we'll be doing them from now on, just so you can get a better idea of what I'm doing behind the scenes and what me and Jenny have to go through. Let's get started. For this example, I'm not going to use your videos, obviously, because this is pre-recorded. So I actually recorded a little mini barbershop quartet thing of myself right now, like a minute ago, and I'm going to be using that instead. So what I'm doing here is I'm just taking the video, dragging it into Logic Pro, which is what I use to do all the audio stuff, and I just want the audio here, so I'm not going to open the movie, and I can drag that in, and now if I play, she's my crimson rose, and there's the audio. So there's 4 parts to this. I'm going to go ahead and drag them all in right now. Okay, so now that all these are in Logic, I'm going to go ahead and highlight all of these and unlock them just so I can move everything around. Okay, so now that these are all unlocked, as you can see by that lock icon that was up there being away, and the way that I did that, 2-finger click all the audio sessions, and then you go into SMPTE lock, and you can unlock it, which I already have done. Now, if I play them, they're very out of time. So what I'm going to do to have an ease of use is I'm going to split them all right here so that I can move them around without them running into the beginning. And I'm going to take the one that starts the earliest. So now you should be able to see the waveforms a bit more, and you can see that this one starts first. Now, obviously, the tempo in Logic is not going to line up with the tempo here, but for ease of use, I'm going to crop this as close as I can to a beat and then put it on the beat right there. That way it's easier to line up. And now I'm just going to do the same process for each of these, cropping them down to right where they start, moving them in, and then seeing if they match. I did not record these to a metronome, nor did I record them to time, which I probably should have done. So they're going to be a little bit mismatched, but that's fine, because this is just a demo. Also, the S that I'm clicking over here just means that I only hear the tracks that I have selected, so I don't have to worry about any other tracks. Alright, and here is the final audio before processing. She's my crimson rose, and I'll never let her go. So obviously they're still a little bit out of time. There's not much I can do about that isn't in depth, so I'm not going to worry about that because it's beyond the scope of the video. Now what I'm going to do is label all of these so I know this is what would be the alto part. This is the tenor part. This is the bass, and this is the soprano or highest voice. And I'm just using those so it's more familiar. Put them in order from highest to lowest. She's my crimson rose. And now what I would normally do when I have like 8 or 9 sopranos, is I would put them all into track stacks so that I can have multiple audio lines in the same stack, and then I can process them all in the same effect unit here. But because we only have 1 per each, I'm actually just not going to worry about that and process them individually. But the process is kind of the same. The reason I process them all individually is because volumes differ. Sometimes you need a stronger compressor on the bass part than you do on the alto part. Sometimes you want a little bit more reverb on the soprano part. It's all kind of specific, but it makes it easier to do them individually. And then if I ever want universal things, what I can do is I can go to the stereo out, which is the master output, and I can put effects on this, and that will put an effect on every single audio, every single audio track in the song. But I'm not going to worry about that again because it's beyond the scope of this video. I'm just going to run you through what I usually do. Hey, coming at you while I'm editing this. I went into way too much depth talking about the production because I like talking about production, but not very many people would understand it. So I'm just going to try and summarize the process real quick. The whole point of the processing on each of the vocal tracks is to make them blend more, and it's to make them stand out while also sort of blending in, and it's to make them sound like they weren't recorded on a phone and they were recorded in a church as best as I possibly can, because churches are usually where we perform. So you want it to sound like that so it doesn't sound that unfamiliar to a listener's ear. If you're interested, again, you'll see this later, but my email is listed at the end of the video if you want to know about the specifics of what I do, but generally, it's just a matter of making sure each part blends. But that's the gist of it. I won't go into specifics. If you want me to go into specifics, I can show you, or I can tell you about what I do. Just contact me, and I'll be happy to let you know. But just to give you an idea of what I would normally do, that's what I would normally do. I'm going to go ahead and copy these into every other track so you can get a feel for the final audio, and I'll get back to you then. Alright, and after all that little audio editing, I have a final product that looks a little bit, or sounds a little bit like this. She's my crimson rose, and I'll never let her go. So really simple stuff. Again, just the same 3 effects on each of these. Although the soprano part is a little bit too loud. I'm just lowering the volume of each of these. You can also look at them like this, which is more reminiscent of a mixing board that you would see in like a typical recording studio. Just making sure that the volume between these are fine. So like say like if the soprano was sticking out way too much, she's my crimson rose, you can't hear anything else, so I would lower the volume of that, and she's my crimson rose, and you can now hear all the parts. As for everything else, the only other all the other stuff that I would do is just kind of like, it's gravy. Again, it's not in the scope of this video. It's all just really small details that just take a while to iron out. They're not really that interesting. So I'm going to cut to the video part right now. Okay, and now for the video portion. Obviously, video is going to be more easy to visualize because it's video and not audio. So hopefully this will make more sense than the audio portion does. As for how I do the virtual choir videos, I'm just going to take one video for now, because I don't want to take up too much time. Just drag that in there. Oh, and by the way, I should mention, this was just, I didn't set up a microphone to record this. This audio is taken from my phone, without headphones in. This is the raw mic, and it's the same, like, it's attached to the video. I didn't record them separately. You don't need to have a good setup for it to sound good. So now I'm going to take the audio that I exported from Logic and put it into here, and so you can hear that here. She's my crimson rose, but you can probably hear they don't line up. So I'm going to look at the waveforms here, which you can see on the bottom in blue. I'm going to crop this, and now I'm going to look at the waveforms individually and see if they line up. She's my crimson rose, and I'll never let her go. So that lines up pretty well, and you can test that by boosting the volume on this and listening back to it one more time. She's my crimson rose, and I'll never let her go. So that lines up pretty good. So now I'm going to mute this video so that you don't get any of the video audio into the video. And then I'm going to now do this for the rest of these real quick, so don't mind me while I disappear. Okay, so I now have all the videos synced, but you'll notice when I play them, only one is playing. So the way that we get them to show more is by clicking this crop feature, and we can resize these, and you'll see, oh, there's another video underneath the video. That's cool, right? And now I can go into each of these, crop them individually, and then make them fit on the screen. Obviously, when you have more videos and you have more tracks, it's harder to do. Now I have 4 wonderfully undone me's on the camera, or on the screen, and I can play it. She's my crimson rose, and I'll never let her go. And there they all are. And you'll see, obviously, the ends all end at different times. So the way that we do that is we find where the soonest one ends, get a little bit before that, highlight all of them, and then we can just trim them. And boom, that doesn't happen anymore. And there you go. I'll throw together the finished product on screen now. She's my crimson rose, and I'll never let her go. And that's pretty much how I did everything last year. Obviously, it was on a much grander scale than this, and it took a lot more work. So, again, just thank you guys for being, thank you to everyone who participated in the ones last year. And thank you to everyone who came back for this year. I'm really excited to be working again because these are a lot of fun to do. But yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't be here today to do this all live, but I hope this gives you an insight into the sort of work that I'm doing behind the scenes to make this all happen. I hope this all made sense. If it didn't, or if there's any questions you had about my process, feel free to reach out to me. I'll send Jenny my email, and I'll also put it on screen now, so if you have any questions, send them my way. And hopefully recording is going to be easier for everyone this year now that people are a little bit more used to it. But again, if you have trouble recording, always email me and I'm going to be happy to help. Alright, see you guys in a bit.